I'm not a huge fan of this dude. I think he's super boring, but he has a popular video related to this topic, so I'm going to pull him up.
The topic of today's short talk is why men are afraid to approach women. So there are a couple of obvious answers to this question that don't really need the psych hacks treatment, but are important to note. So let's just go ahead and get them out of the way at the outset. Men are afraid to approach women because they are afraid of rejection, not only because rejection by definition is frustrating and generally perceived to be painful, but because rejection in this domain carries a special threat, namely that they will be perceived as creepy. This is a
I guess that's there are some people out there that are just fucking shitty people. You can be a dude that just wants to socialize. You're working out at the gym and there's a couple of dudes over there and you're like, you know what they're talking about? Talking about my favorite basketball team. I'm going to hop in that conversation, and you'll try to hop in the conversation and they'll just kind of look at you like, who the fuck are you? Like, who the fuck is this guy? Why is this guy trying to talk to us? So some people just want to mind their own business and they want you to mind your own business. That's something that people have to get through their heads. It's not necessarily that people are rejecting you or people are annoyed by you or they think you're creepy. It's just they don't know you and they have no interest in getting to know you. So that's what you have to understand in their minds. And when you understand that, you can stop taking it personal because it really has absolutely nothing to do with you. Okay. Nothing. Maybe somewhere along the line, you'll work with that person or you'll be around that person and you'll get to know each other and they'll consider you a person they want to socialize with. But sometimes, it's just the way it is. But I don't knock anybody's strategies or whatever. Like if you're a guy that likes to take vacations, you like to go to Vegas, you like to go to, Cancun or wherever, there's going to be plenty of pretty women in all those places. If you're a single guy or you're going there with your buddies, sure, you would be flaming homosexual to not approach hot women, talk to them, and try to party with them, because especially in places like that, or if you're at your local city nightclub, there's plenty of women there that want to get drunk and they want to have sex. They're there for the same reason you are. There's other women that are married or there's other women that are antisocial and you don't really know. You don't know who's who or what's what. So you're just kind of approaching people and trying to make shit happen. The only thing you got to get through your head is it's not you, it's them. Okay. Because let's put it like this. If you have organically had girlfriends, just organically, like growing up or as an adult, you've organically got girlfriends. You're sitting at church and some girl slides her number over to you and you go on dates and she becomes your girlfriend, or you go on dating apps and girls randomly message you and you have sex with them, or, just things pop up in your life. It's not you. It's them. Okay. You're perfectly capable. You're perfectly capable of attracting women, of being sexually attractive to women, of, emotional connections and all that shit. You're perfectly capable of it. You're not creepy. You're not weird. It's just that particular girl wants nothing to do with you and probably every other guy in the room, by the way. So just let it go. It's not that big of a deal. Don't let this dude freak you out.
Especially true in the shadow of the Me Too movement. Men are afraid that not only will they be rejected, but they will be shamed.
Okay, the Me Too movement. Now, I understand that. So if you're with a psycho, narcissistic BPD girl that you work with, and you're about to hop in the elevator, and she's gotten 4 men fired this year for feeling up on her, touching her, saying the wrong thing to her, you might want to take the stairs. Think about what you're doing. But the chances of you getting quote unquote Me Too'd on like a dinner date, where you don't, okay. I can understand where that would come up. it could come up when you're trying to make the move, right? You just ate dinner, light meal, nothing too serious. You had a few drinks. You know, you bought her the expensive glass of champagne. She had a couple margaritas. She's giggling. She's having fun. So you're walking out. You decide to grab her and pull her into you and start kissing her. She pulls away. What are you doing? Now, all of a sudden, you're like, oh, fuck. You feel like you did something wrong. You didn't do anything wrong. You're an adult. She's an adult. You've done this a million times before, but she pulls back and she hesitates. Now you feel like you did something wrong. And now you're worried you're going to get Me Too'd. And it can happen. It can happen. But you got to vet women properly. Okay. Normally, the women that will do something like that are nut jobs. Like, you can usually see that shit from a mile away. So you really have to vet women. If they seem crazy, they have a reputation for, you know, doing crazy things, stay away from them.
Or canceled as a consequence of expressing sexual interest. This is the world we live in today. But let's dive a little deeper into this issue, because it's not immediately obvious why sexual rejection would be so much more intensely painful for men than other forms of rejection, though it is patently obvious that it is experienced as such by the vast majority of men. And we can consider that the pain of sexual rejection cuts deeper because, from an evolutionary perspective, the survival of the individual is of lower priority than the perpetuation of its genetics. That through the lens of evolutionary theory, an organism that lives a long and healthy life but fails to reproduce viable offspring has failed as an individual because its genetic lineage has gone extinct just as certainly as if he had never lived long enough to reach sexual maturity. On the other hand, the individual that leaves behind an abundance of offspring, ideally with different mothers, as the genetic diversity will increase the likelihood that at least some of his children will survive to sexual maturity, is an evolutionary success. In a very literal way, sex is life. And sexual opportunity is both.
Do you think that's true, though? Do you guys think in your minds, I understand what he's saying, and that would make sense. Like, I do understand exactly where he's going like with that. But do you, as each individual male out there in the chat, do you think, like, consciously or subconsciously, about impregnating multiple women? Like, is that a strategy that goes into your mind? Or do you have a strategy of either A, I'm horny and I want to fuck girls, plural, but just because I'm horny, not because I have some sort of fucking underlying intention to impregnate them. As a matter of fact, I'll probably use condoms on all of them. So that's one way of thinking. And number two is, I really like this one girl, and I want her to be my girlfriend. To me, those are the two sexual strategies that men have. Those are the only two I've ever had. Either I like this girl, or I'm horny and I want to have sex with some girls. It's never been like, well, if I impregnate as many women as possible, spread my seed, then chances of a surviving offspring is significantly, substantially higher. Increases my chances substantially, considerably.
A determinant and a signal of individual success. On the other hand, while lack of sex is not literally death, it is symbolically something much more pernicious, namely extinction. This means that on a very deep level, rejection from a woman not only signifies that the man in question does not deserve to reproduce, but that by extension, he does not really deserve to exist, as his continued genetic existence depends on his ability to successfully reproduce. In this context, it's important to keep in mind that biologists do not declare a species extinct when all of the individuals of that species are actually dead, but when opportunities for reproduction become non-existent. The inability to reproduce is extinction, and the threat of extinction colors every female rejection. And this is a uniquely male threat, as there are few women who could not get sex if they wanted it. It's this asymmetrical privilege coupled with a failure in perspective taking that contributes to women's lack of understanding and frustration regarding the importance of sex for men. However, it doesn't end here. not only does female rejection carry the threat of extinction, but it carries the threat of perdition. As modern man,
the threat of extinction. Guys, do you think of your gene pool going extinct when you're looking at a hot chick? Does this concern ever even fucking come up in your mind? Like, are you thinking, my chances of reproducing are significantly lower if this woman rejects me? Like, that's not normal. No, you see a girl that you're fucking attracted to, and like I said, it's either A, I just want to fuck this girl, or B, I kind of like this girl. I want her to be my girlfriend. There is no fucking worrying about fucking extinction. 99% of people, men in this day and age, are going to put a condom on anyways, whether it's a girl they really like or whether it's some random chick they just want to hook up with. You know, guys wouldn't buy condoms if they feared extinction.
Uses woman as the crucible for his self-worth. Let's look into this further. The idea of utilizing a proxy to publicly reveal private merit is very old. And through most of human history, men used contests of arms to do this. Whether in actual combat or in ritualized simulations of combat, the idea was that the victor was not...
Sorry to interrupt his amazing story here, but imagine, and this guy, it seems like a hell of a nice guy, probably 10 times more intelligent than me, but there's a reason why intelligent guys struggle with women. And young, dumb, and full of cum jocks and bad boys and thugs and rock stars and pothead skateboarders do good with women. And that's because they don't approach women and say, listen here, young lady, the reason why I'm approaching you is because I'm afraid of extinction. It's subconsciously going on in the back of my mind. I'm an evolutionary psychologist. And previously, in a past world, men would have fought it out. We would have jousted it out or dueled it out in order to have a shot at talking to you. But in this day and age, I'm just able to approach you. And she's like, get out of my face. Get this loser out of my fucking face. Get this fucking weirdo out of my face. And then some, dumb as a box of rocks, Chad walks up and he's like, sup, bitch? Your ass looks nice in those jeans. And she's like, oh my God, you're so sweet. You are so nice. And then she ends up having sex with him. And that's just the truth. There's nothing wrong with having an intelligent conversation with a woman. I love having intelligent, deep conversations. I like to do it. I can be bullshitting with a fucking cousin of mine or a friend of mine, and I like deep conversations. I like, intellectually stimulating conversations. And a lot of women do too, but it has to be something that she's into and something she's interested in. And it has to be a fluent conversation that, is bringing the two of you closer together, raising each other's level of interest. Has to be like that. You can't be like weighing out the interaction as you're having it. Like imagine him being like, I've just explained 42 points to you. This conversation is getting very deep. I think the vibe is good. Hopefully your pussy is getting wet right now, but my calculations are saying that you're not. I'm looking at the look on your face and that I'm believing that subconsciously you're actually viewing me as somebody that you wish would go extinct and I would never have babies. I don't know. I'm just, maybe I'm reaching now, but I mean, he just kind of comes off as like, why, dude? Because there's a lot of guys out there in this day and age. There's a lot of young guys, intelligent, book smart, young guys. Maybe they grew up on video games, but they're tech savvy, intelligent, smart kids. And they listen to this shit and they apply this shit. So rather than, just going through the fucking motions and like, oh, okay, there's a hot girl, go talk to her. Tell her she's cute. Tell her you like her. Who gives a fuck? That's what the dumb guy does. He's just like, oh, You're cute. I like you. She's like, oh, okay, I guess I'll have sex with you. But the smart guy wants to overthink things and, you know, go off on these tangents about these fucking weird intellectual things. It's not going to work.
Just the strongest, not just the most capable, but the most deserving. In short, the victorious combatant, especially given the chaos and vicissitudes of war.
And see, that's bad. He says the most capable and the most deserving. So that's going to put this idea in young men's heads that it's like, well, I lift more weights than him. I have more money than him. I'm smarter than him. I have a better future than him. Why won't you pick me? I'm the better pick. Not going to happen like that. She is going to pick the one that either A, because women, again, their sexual strategies, their mating strategy is not that much different than fucking men. Because the same way that you'll look at women, you'll be like, either A, I want to fuck, or B, I kind of like this girl and I want a relationship with her. Women are the same way. You know, sometimes it's like, she's kind of excited and she wants to hook up. She wants to have sex with this dude. And then other guys, she's like, well, I like this guy. Maybe I want a relationship with him. Okay. So either A, you excite her and you make her horny, or B, you generate an emotional attraction. You know, you make her feel something. That's what matters. Doesn't matter what your qualifications are.
Was the one that God favored. This meant that entering into combat was, in a symbolic sense, putting oneself in God's scales to determine whether one had the right stuff. Now, before I go any further, if you're liking what you're hearing, please consider sending this episode to someone who might benefit from its message, because it's word of mouth referrals like this that really help to make the channel grow.
Who would benefit from the message? And I don't want to knock the guy. Like, again, I'm not trying to go there. Seems like a nice guy, clearly more intelligent than me. But why would you benefit from that? The simplicity of intersexual dynamics. Okay. Think of it like this. The guys that get the best results are the guys that don't have a clue what intersexual dynamics are. They don't care. You know, take a hint from the dumb guy that just walks up to women and says, oh, yeah, you got a nice ass. And she fucks him. Nice shoes. Want to fuck? She fucks him. The intelligent guy overthinking things, you know, fucking trying to go on these deep, intelligent conversations, just boring women. There's no reason to go off on this shit. The only thing that could possibly come out of that would be your chances with women going down significantly.
You can also hit the super thanks button, the 3 little dots in the lower right-hand corner, and tip me in proportion to the value that you believe you've derived from this episode, because it's donations like that that make all of this happen. Thank you for your support. Now, we don't really have that trial by combat culture anymore. However, the desire to test one's quality remains. And what has replaced warfare and similar pastimes as the crucible of self-worth for modern man, who is man indoctrinated with the ideology of romantic love, is woman. For many men, even if they would not consciously formulate the idea as such, woman has replaced God as the arbiter of their worth. This means when a man approaches a woman, he is functionally allowing her to evaluate his merit by using the encounter as a crucible for his self-worth. Can I buy you?
What? A crucible of his self-worth. When I approach a woman, I'm offering her conversation. I'm offering her good vibes, good conversation, good energy. I'm offering her something. That's it. Offering her a hello, greeting her. It's literally just a sign of respect. You know, when I walk up to a man and I shake his hand and I say, nice to meet you. How are you? Great to see you. That is just a sign of respect. I'm offering him a handshake. Let him know, hey, I respect you. You respect me. Cool. It's an offering. When I approach a woman, it's the same thing. It's not a crucible of my self-worth.
A drink sometime becomes, both from an evolutionary and a spiritual perspective, do you think I deserve to exist? Now,
holy fucking projection. It gets worse and worse. And, you know, and this is the thing. Like I said, seems like a nice guy. I don't want to keep repeating that. Like, and I don't want to sound like I'm being a dick to the guy. But who the fuck does that? Who the fuck views, who gives a random woman the power to say, I don't deserve to exist. If you reject me, I don't deserve to exist. What? Like, what the fuck?
From a rational perspective, this makes no sense whatsoever. And some men are going to vigorously deny this interpretation. However, it does have the benefit of explaining an anxiety that can't really be accounted for by other conscious explanations.
Then he kind of tried to build up this straw man of like, you know, some men will try to deny this fact by, you know, saying it's, you know, illogical or whatever. But no, you're building up a false argument. Like criticizing that doesn't make us the wrong ones. The hell?
And women certainly do their part to play into this rejection. Did you know that the word glamour, which is a distinctly feminine concept, comes from an old Scottish word meaning spellcraft? Female glamour, in the sense of their makeup and their fashion and their behaviors, is a spell designed to bewitch the perception of men into believing they are more than they are. And the more they...
Wow. Okay, so when a woman, okay, it's 4 o'clock, right? She's going out at 8:30 p.m. Her and her girlfriends are going out. I'll put it like this. Okay, my ex-girlfriend, you know, it's a Friday night and we're going out. We have, you know, this fucking amazing fun night planned. You know, it's our best friend's birthday. We're going out to a club. We're taking the party bus. We're going to a restaurant. You know, we've got a real nice rooftop hotel we're going to after it's all said and done. We got this really fun, cool night set up, right? And during the day, my girlfriend goes and gets her hair done. She has one of her friends who's like a pro at makeup come over and do a whole makeover for her. Her and her other friend had went to the mall to buy new dresses and new shoes. They got their nails done. They got their eyebrows waxed. You know, they did all of this stuff and they spent hours getting ready, several hours getting ready because she wants to look good during this celebration. And by the way, I had already smashed her hundreds of times. You know, she's not trying to seduce me. I fucked her on a Saturday morning when she was wearing sweatpants. All right. She doesn't have to do that to put on a spell. It's not witchcraft. Garth, that's what made it a good example. The fact that I know her natural face is what made it a good example. It's that I know she's not putting on the stuff to cast a spell. She's doing it because she wants to look nice.
They tap into feminine spiritual archetypes, the more they are successful in this endeavor. So women, whether they are conscious of it or not, kind of conspire with this unconscious belief in men, because of course, if they forewent all of their props, men's desire for them would significantly diminish. Again, men rationally understand that a woman cannot...
See, I think that's wrong too. That's going to put, like, he's just stuffing people's minds full of anxiety. So that's like a lot of times the psychology community does that. They stuff people's minds full of anxiety, so they'll need a psychologist. Just like dating coaches stuff guys' minds full of, you know, shit that cock blocks them, so they'll have to buy their program. But, you know, a woman, what was it that he said there?
First, if they forewent all of their props, men's desire for them...
Okay, if they gave up all of their, like if she stopped showing off her ass and tits and all of that stuff, then, you know, her value would go down. I think that's bullshit. You know, I've known a lot of women that weren't 10 out of 10s. They were like, you know, average as fuck. And what I liked about them is that they were more pure. You know, they're more authentic and more pure than the 9s, because the 9s are usually more promiscuous. They're sluttier, you know, they're more on demand. So when I meet a girl that's like a 6, but she carries herself in like a very conservative, you know, more respectable manner, that's what I like about her. So it's like the respectable personality that happens to be more attractive. And by the way, that would be the positive message to send to women. If you don't want them to be whores, if you don't want them to be promiscuous and have, you know, be doing all this shit that guys complain about, you know, but instead he's basically filling their minds with women must have big fake tits and, you know, Botox and all of this stuff to remain attractive. Otherwise, men won't look at them. Like, that's the kind of message he pushes, but he pushes the same thing to men and women. It's like this weird way of thinking that makes you feel like you're less, like you're subhuman. You don't keep up with all this shit.
Would significantly diminish. Again, men rationally understand that a woman cannot possibly be the arbiter of his self-worth, especially a woman they have just met and has next to no information on which to base such a judgment, even if she wanted to do so. But this fear is not a rational thing, which is why it can't really be dissipated by rational arguments. So how do you overcome approach anxiety? Well, like any other anxiety, it can really only be overcome through exposure and repetition. That is, you get over the anxiety of approaching women by approaching women. And the idea is to approach enough women that
you get over approaching women by thinking with your dick. Stop thinking with your brain when you're talking to women. That's the biggest lie of all time, that like, well, men think with their dicks and that's why they're so fucking stupid. The guys that think with their dicks get laid. Okay. What's your dick telling you? Your dick is telling you she's fucking hot. I'm going to talk to her. And your dick is cocky. Your dick will say whatever it wants. Okay. It will fucking, it's cocky. It just, whatever, you know, it's as confident as you can possibly get. Your brain, on the other hand, overthinks things. She's not going to like me. Oh, what's she going to think? She probably thinks I'm ugly. She probably thinks I'm stupid. You know, it's not the way it works. Think with your dick. That's why dumb guys are better than smart guys when it comes to talking to women. Dumb guys think with their dicks. Smart guys think with their brains.
Non-terrible experiences collectively constitute an emotionally disconfirming experience of the feared outcome, so that you can reasonably expect, all things being equal, that you will have a non-terrible experience approaching women moving forward. And the best way to do this, I found, is to kind of make a game out of it. Think of approaching women like playing tennis. When you play tennis, you don't have to play both sides of the net. You don't have to visualize how the whole volley is going to go, and you don't have to try to win every point with an ace. All you really have to do is put the ball into play and respond. And as a man, it's your job to serve. It's your job to put the ball into play. But once you do, it's her job to hit the ball back to you. Now, if a woman likes what she sees and hears, she's going to help you. She will hit the ball back to you nice and easy, right where you're standing. Because she's interested in playing, she's going to make it easy.
But again, even though he's saying this, like, and he's using a sport, a game, it's still not game. He's making it transactional. You know, if you serve her and she likes what you're serving, you know, if you pull up in a nice car and you're dressed nice and you make enough money, then maybe she'll play the game with you. Like, that's kind of how he's presenting it. But in reality, we'll just stop that now. In reality, here's how women work. And I'll try to give an analogy here that will help, you know, all the incels and black pillars out there, because they're the most skeptical, the most cynical when it comes to whether or not you should approach a woman, right? They're automatically going to be pessimistic on that issue. So let's say you have two incels, and I'm not talking incels that are overweight, Cheeto eating, bad breath incels. I'm talking incels that lift weights, have good physiques, make decent money, but they're just not very good with women. But they're on an equal level. The two incels are on an equal level. They're just both kind of ugly and they're not very good with women. And let's say they walk into a bar. So you got two incels and one woman sitting at a bar. Incel number one says, that girl's hot, but we're ugly. She's never going to want to talk to us. And incel number two says, yeah, you're probably right. It's usually the way it goes. But after a few drinks, the incels decide to try talking to the girl. And the girl looks at the incels and she says, sorry, I don't bang ugly guys. And incel number one says, see, I told you she didn't bang ugly guys. And incel number two says, that's what they all say until they see my penis. And she's like, whatever. Now, incel number one is like, hey, that was risky. You shouldn't have said that. But incel number two is like, no, did you hear the way she said whatever? She said whatever in a playful, teasing way. Like she wanted to continue with the conversation. Like, two fucking kids being brats to each other. Like, but she said it because she wanted to encourage the conversation. She wanted it to go forward. So incel number two says, well, if you don't bang ugly guys, why are you over there thinking about my penis? And then she says, whatever again. And she smacks him on the arm in a playful way. And all of a sudden, she's flirting with incel number two. They're building some sort of sexual attraction. And then incel number two is like, hey, tell you what, why don't you buy me and my friend a drink? It's an acceptable apology for you smacking me on the arm. I don't even know you. She buys him a drink. All of a sudden, now she's investing in these incels. And incel number two is a guy that she is actually investing and putting effort in trying to hook up with. She wants to fuck incel number two because incel number two was able to turn her on. Now, sure, I know a lot of guys will say, well, that's just a hypothetical bullshit story, but I've seen it happen.
Oh, fuck yeah.
Many, many times.